So welcome back to another Half and Half Scarf football podcast with me, Nick, and my mate Dom. We're on episode 39 this week, and we thought we'd have a look at strange football superstitions, both footballer superstitions, of which I've done a lot of research and there's a lot of them. Some are very strange. And fan superstitions, primarily me and primarily Dom's daughter, Mia, because we're a bit quirky when it comes to things, and we'll discuss why we are and the fact that it means absolutely nothing in the context of what's going to happen on the pitch, but we still stick to them. As ever, this is in association with our new fan support partners, Huddle Up. Huddle Up are accessing mental health and wellness for football fans, predominantly across the EFL and the National League. And if you're in association with any club on a fan level or a fan liaison or commercial level or whatever it might be, and want to improve the wellness and well-being and just the awareness of support available for football fans by football fans, then we'll give you the contact details for Huddle Up at the end of this episode, doing some fantastic work, and we're delighted to have them as our podcast partners going forward. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to my co-host. He's not that superstitious himself. He's wearing a shirt that I said to him, why are you not wearing a football shirt? But actually, he'd like to explain why it is exactly a football shirt for those who are watching on YouTube.
Yeah, because you've done it in the past, mate. It's a bit of merch. So, and a bit of a plug. This is from a company called Everton the Gear, who I really like. They're a local Liverpool company, and they produce tribute merch or really funny, quirky merch, which is a take on players or traditions or matches and stuff. This one is in celebration of Everton's first round match in the 84-85 European Cup Winners' Cup winning season, when they were played University College Dublin at Tolka Park in Dublin. And it's just a really nice thing. It's just a lovely shirt. I like the green. I like the logo. It's Irish, which links to my heritage. Just a nice T-shirt.
Very briefly, I don't know the history of how well Everton did in that run-up. I do remember winning the Cup Winners' Cup. Tell me you had some harder opposition than University College Dublin as you went through the rounds, mate.
Well, they did. And, most famously, they beat Bayern Munich over two legs, the second leg being 3-1 at Goodison Park. And
I remember.
The roof. And it's before my time as being an adoptive Evertonian, but I know people who were there, speak to them, and one of those games that is just a standout that, if you could teleport yourself back to, I'd happily go back and watch that game. So, yeah, they did. And the players and the manager said that once they'd beaten Bayern Munich in the semi-finals, they would never lose it to Rapid Vienna in the final, and they didn't. But, no. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did play some very good opposition.
Okay, I just thought I'd throw that as a bit of a fishing hook for you, mate. Anyway, right. For those who are watching, I'm wearing what looks like a Leeds United shirt. God forbid I'd ever be seen dead in one of them. But this is Boro's away shirt from 2 seasons ago. When it first came out, I was gutted and mortified that it looked like a Leeds Rhinos shirt and suddenly a Leeds United shirt in some respects. However, I cleaned out my shirt drawer and cupboard this week because I was looking for one particularly for our Dortmund trip, and I can't find it. I've lost an away shirt from there, which I really loved. And I thought, I haven't worn this one before. And actually, I really liked this shirt when it was on, when you were watching it on the pitch and stuff. It's a nice piece of kit. It's what do they call them? A rare, which, the quality is a bit suspect. But, I'm okay with that. So let's move on. I'm hoping we don't go Leeds United too often. And last season we went very Coventry City, didn't we, with our away kit? So
we did. We
need to be a bit more unique on that one. Anyway, right? Let's move on. So superstitions. We're going to start with mine. We're going to look at Mia's, and then I'm going to go through quite a lot of famous footballers, and we're just going to talk about how bonkers they are. Right? So let's accept to start with. So Julie, who goes to games with me, and Rob. She thinks I've got some weird superstitions, and she'll say to me, it makes no damn difference. And you know what? I agree with Julie, it makes no damn difference, except it does. It makes a damn difference in my head. So my top one, my absolute top one, and Julie will know if she's listening to this or watching this, exactly what I'm going to start with. Home and away shirts. You cannot, under any circumstances, wear a away shirt for a home game or a home shirt for an away game. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you think you are. That's wrong on every level, right? So we played red at home, and we played an away shirt away from home. I don't care which away shirt you choose. I've got 5 or 6, 7 away shirts, and I might choose not necessarily this year's away shirt, but as long as it's an away shirt, I would never be seen dead in a red home shirt at an away game. To the extent of, we were asked to go to Preston last game of the season 2 years ago, and we're being asked again to go to Blackburn on the game before the international break. We're taking 7,500 Borough fans to Blackburn on the Saturday lunchtime before the international break, and everyone's saying wear something red, wear something red. No, I don't think you think I think I won't, to be fair, because superstitiously wise, home and away shirts belong at home or away, and never the twain shall meet. Now I know you know that I do this, Tom, and I
Yeah,
know you. It's bonkers, is it, or what?
it is, but that's why I love it, because it's a personal superstition and it's yours, because I'm fine with it. I remember once rocking up at the Riverside wearing a an old retro 80s Middlesbrough away top, and you just gave me pelters for 90 minutes, and never heard the end of it. And I was like, but I'm fine with it. I'm totally comfortable with that. I have no issue with wearing whatever shirt you want, wherever you want it. But I love it, the fact that it's you're really passionate about it. And I remember, and Rob is as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
And the guy who used to sit with us before, God, his name escapes me. It's just suddenly gone out of my head. Um,
Glenn.
Glenn was the same. He was really into it. And you know what? There's probably others who are, and that's why I like it, because that's what superstitions and quirks are about. They are irrational, odd, crazy to some people, but they're yours, and and you get very passionate about it, and that's why I always laugh, because you are deadly serious about it.
I have deadly serious. Worse than that, right? So, you went several months going to Middlesbrough games and not seeing us win, and you know what? Because that bloody shirt, mate. Right, that's what I'll say. So, the other thing is, Glenn and Julie live in Teesside, and Rob and I live in York. So we go to an away game. We meet just outside of Wetherby. It depends who's driving, Julie or me or whatever it might be. We meet just outside Wetherby. And a couple of seasons ago, we were going to an away game, and Julie drove down, and I think I was driving to, let's say we were going to Derby or somewhere like that. So we're just meeting up, parking up. And they both turned up in home shirts, two red shirts, pulled up outside, and put next to my car in red shirts. And I was like, you're not getting in. You're not getting in my car. If you want to go to Derby, drive yourself. Drive yourself. And it was just a joke. They both had away shirts and they got changed, put the away shirts on. But it was just like, just to see my reaction. And it's that ingrained in me that I literally I can't, even watching a game on telly, I wear the shirt that the team are wearing. So, but if it's a red shirt, I'll still wear an away shirt. I won't wear the red shirt for an away game. Anyway, moving on from that. So, I've got a couple of other superstitions. Lucky shorts. So at the start of this season, Borough won their first 5 games, and I had a pair of cargo shorts on because it was summer, obviously. For the first game, we won. Second game, we won. Third game, we won. I thought, I'm not taking these. I'm not swapping my shorts out until we've not won. And I've accepted a draw, but we kept winning every game. And it started to get cold. I had them on at Portsmouth away. My God, it was freezing. The wind was rustling off the sea. It was bloody freezing. We were sat at the back of the stand right next to an entrance where the wind was just gushing down, and these shorts on. I won't say thankfully we lost. We did lose 1-0. It was a long way to go and a terrible performance by us, but at least it meant I could get my joggers out and keep warm for the future games. So lucky shorts at the start of the season. If we'd have kept going unbeaten, I'd have put up with it. I'd have been freezing. That's okay. I've got a pair of lucky joggers that I wear for certain games. Another quick one. I don't like to be late. I like to be really early, and I've been so early for games. Sometimes we've been there before the team, but the only time that we have been really late, or potentially really late, we were going to Burnley away a couple of seasons ago, and there was snow, and we couldn't get out of York, and we were driving, and the sat nav said arrival time at Turf Moor, or near Turf Moor where we were parking, 3:10. It's like, oh shit. So anyway, I juggled my way across the country. I know my way around like the back of my hand, as it were. So I got there, and we managed to get into the ground just in time. A bit like Leicester this year, we got there just as the team arrived. we never win the games where we arrive bang on time. We drew both games. So we drew at Burnley, we drew at Leicester, and that's because we arrived late. So that's, all part of the process. And the last one is because Borough are often in and around the playoff zone, and we have been all season. We've been top two all but 2 weeks, and we're definitely going to be in the playoffs. But I want us to be automatic, obviously, as every Borough fan does. There's every chance we could be, but there's a few, 11 games still to go. Who the hell is booking Wembley hotels just in case? Who the hell is booking Wembley hotels for the playoffs just in case we get to the playoff final at Wembley at the end of May? That's wrong. That's like tempting fate. What the hell are you doing? Stop doing that, because if we end up in the playoffs and we end up at Wembley and we end up losing, it's your fault. Nothing to do with what happens on the pitch. It's your fault. So they're my superstitions. They're all a bit strange. They're all peculiar. They're all me. And what we want in this interactive sort of process with the listeners and the viewers is, I'd like to know what yours are in the comments and what yours are. But Mia, your daughter's got more than me, hasn't she?
Oh my God. It was getting to the point when we were at Goodison that she'd almost got to the point where we couldn't leave the house. It was like, we're getting to the point now, kid, where, something's got to give. I mean, it's literally everything from the time we set off, from, where we park. We always parked outside one of our friends' houses on just off Goodison Road, which was great. But, if for some reason we couldn't get in there for whatever reason, that was a sign. If a shirt had more than 2 losses, that got binned for at least 2 years. There's a couple that she's never worn again. Don't ask. Same underwear, and we're not going to go into that, but yeah, literally underwear, same shoes, same socks, same coat, same scarf. We always had to eat and get takeout from the same takeaway, and it always had to be the same food, which was chip, steak, kidney pie and gravy. It couldn't be any other pie. And we couldn't get any other topping on it. And it had to be from the same place, always.
Hang on. So your daughter has taken your love of a pie to another level. You love a pie at a game, don't you? You love a pie.
She's the same, yeah. So it had to be from the same place.
Really?
Always got the same chocolate bar and the same drink. It's always cherry Coke. And if cherry Coke has run out, that was like, well, that's it. So always cherry Coke. It was always the same chocolate bar, which was dairy milk. And if anything went deviated, we never ever deviated from the cherry Coke. But one time randomly, it was the chocolate's fault, so that got binned. It was now we went back, we went on to jellies, so it was jelly sweets. It's literally all these little things, all these little signs. So me would take them all and bundle them all together. And equally, one that we all agree on with you, being late. Oh my God. I hate being late anyway, but I really hate being late for football. It makes me incredibly anxious. I have to be in the ground well before. Not ridiculously early, but I like to chat to all our mates and just get settled and be there. And it very rarely happens. But on the odd time, when we were at Goodison, we used to drive. It was much quicker than getting the train. Like I say, I had free parking outside a mate's house. But the odd time, and you'd just get sucker punched down again. You'd never see it on the traffic, but we'd get done in the tunnel. There'd be an accident in the tunnel, Birkenhead tunnel, going across from Wirral to Liverpool or something, or there'd be a snag. And we were late twice, and Mia just said, unbelievable. Said you in the car was just a different level of stress of like of not being able to make it. The other time when we decided we didn't always, and this is the other thing. So when we were in the takeaway queue, all she'd hear from me is, "We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. We're not going to get there. The queue's massive. We're not going to get into the ground on time."
Hang on. Can I stop you there then? So when you're running late, you still have to go for the pie. You still have to go for the chocolate bar or the jellies, and you still have to get the. Wow. So even though you're running late, that's the other.
If we know we can do it, we still do it. On the odd occasion where we've been well and truly late, it's just been like there's been 2 occasions and we've just been like, no, that we've got to get into the ground because that trumps everything. When you are late, that trumps everything. But if you know you can kind of get in on the wire, but on the time when I was convinced the takeaway queue was going to take us forever, and I got to the point where I was going, we need to go. And she went, Dad, we've been in this queue for half an hour. you're just going to suddenly pack it all in and launch it and just go. He said, we'll be there, we'll be fine. And she was right. We got it. We got in. We were 10 minutes early. And she was like, you are ridiculous. And I was like, but it's the stress, Mia. It's the stress of, not being in control of the situation and stuff. And yeah, all these quirky little things that come about. But
can I ask you, mate, can I ask you, do you think they make any difference to the score at the end of 90 minutes?
None whatsoever. That's the bizarre thing about it, but you have them anyway. And the other thing, not really, it is a superstition for me. If I even hint or mention at previous performances or when we last played these, or do you remember that time? She goes absolutely mental. I'm not allowed to literally speak of anything negative. So on Tuesday, randomly, I don't even know why it happened. I should know better. We were 2-0 up. It was 5 minutes to go. And it just came out of my mouth. I just said, "Oh, do you remember that Newcastle game in Ancelotti's season when we were 2-0 up and they scored 2 minutes, two goals in a minute at the end?" And she went,
"Oh,
what the fuck?" She literally screamed at me in front of him. She said, "You've been told you're not allowed to speak about stuff like that. Why? How did?" And I got absolutely bollocked, and the people around were just wetting themselves as I was getting royally told off by my 20-year-old daughter. But even putting it out into the ether, because she said, "That's it. The more you speak about things like that, the more you jinx it." But it's silly because it's not. It's an individual game. But as soon as you voice something, it's almost like that can happen, and that's what Mia's like. She's very, very superstitious about everything like that.
I get that. See, I'm not superstitious in life, just at football, right? In life in general, not at all, right? So it's quirky for football, right? But Rob's the same as me with that. So if we were playing against someone, and so I'll give you an example. We played Birmingham on Monday night, right? I think Jay Stansfield's probably the most overrated footballer in the Championship. I think he's bang average, if not a bit shit, right? He cost 15 million quid. He does nothing, and he's done nothing. When he played us at the Riverside, he got taken off, and he was doing nothing the other night. And I had to wait till Jay Stansfield went off to say, and I breathed a sigh of relief to say to Rob, I can tell you now, Jay Stansfield is shit. I said, but if I'd said that while he was still on the pitch, you'd have gone mad. And Jay Stansfield, to be fair, he put a great cross in for their assist for their goal. That was the only thing he did all game. But and there'll be players, I'll go, oh, God, he always scores against us, doesn't he? Or well, Rob will go, for fuck, what are you doing, Daddy?
Exactly.
He always scores against us. It's like, well, he does. He said, but don't say it. What are you saying it for? It's like, so... Yeah. It's like, it's weird, isn't it, how we get triggered by stuff. Let's go back to a superstition that you and I have got. You come up to the Riverside, probably a third of more of the games. Obviously, you live in the Wirral. You live in the Wirral and whatever. You come to home games. You always go to see your mum. You get the train for the last little leg to the station. The only time Rob and I and Julie and Tim go for a Guinness is when you come up on the train. But we always go for a Guinness when you come up on the train. If you came up on the train and we didn't go for a Guinness, that'd be another little quirk. I'd have a tick or a twitch going.
And the same, yeah.
There was a couple of times where you've been running late, and we like. But at least we had a Guinness though, because we're like, well, we're waiting for you, and then you were running late, and then we said we'll see you in the stadium. At least I had the Guinness, but Dom, train, Guinness, they all go together. If you break that
it feels wrong, doesn't it? And where it went wrong was that Coventry match. I came up on I remember it was the night game. I got caught late in the afternoon. I was supposed to finish work a bit earlier, and I was pedaling the whole way up. And I literally got there under the wire. I had time to literally jump on the train. I was going to make it. I was literally going to be like you with Leicester and Burnley. I was going to walk in 2 minutes before kickoff, and then randomly the train stops between, halfway at Thornaby, and they get this. The conductor comes on saying, "Yeah, we've had to stop the train because we've got runners on the track." And I'm just like, if they're on the track, just run over them. They shouldn't be on the bloody track. And then when they finally clear the lines, they've said they have to take ages to make sure that these people aren't going to suddenly run out of nowhere again. And so we were stuck for nearly 25 minutes. And I remember texting you saying, just go on ahead, I'm screwed here. And I remember walking in nearly 10 minutes late, and it messed my head the whole game because I was rotten. And someone even, because you're where you sit. I always sit with you, try to sit with you when I come. You're next to the away fans. Even one of the away fans said, "Oh, look at him coming in," and I was boiling because it's like almost like I was some lazy fan that prioritized.
Yeah, couldn't be bothered.
It absolutely wasn't. I was just like, I felt like saying, "You have no idea the journey I've had to get here this afternoon," and I've
Yeah.
to be and I'm foiled by someone running on a train track.
And worse than that, we lost 4-2. It was your fault. Right, so moving on from that, again, just looking at superstitions and linking them back, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and it's that, Hadji Wright always scores against us, or, whatever. And you say it out loud, it becomes a thing. So, anyway, I've done some research, mate, and I've got literally dozens. I'm going to read them out, and we'll stop and have a discussion of some of them, right? So, these are just famous footballer superstitions, and they go back ages, some of them, and some of them are more famous than others. So, Johan Cruyff, okay, when he played for Ajax, he used to slap the goalkeeper Gert Balls in the stomach. That's an unfortunate name, isn't it? I'm glad he wasn't called Gert Stomach. He slapped him in the balls, but Gert Balls slapped him in the stomach, and he used to spit chewing gum into the opponent's half before kickoff when he played for Ajax. I'll read about 5 or 6, and we'll go back to him. Laurent Blanc, obviously famous, he used to kiss Fabien Barthez on his bald head before every game in the 1998 World Cup. When they both came to Man United, he kept doing the same, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Kolo Toure, when he was at Arsenal, insisted on being the absolute last player to step onto the pitch. Gary Lineker, I didn't know this one actually, he wouldn't take shots during the warm-up so he could save his goals for the game, and he'd change his shirt at half-time if he hadn't scored, which is like, it's as if it's the shirt's fault.
Yeah.
Couple more. Pepe Reina always filled his car with fuel to the exact same level at the exact same petrol station before the game, even if he didn't need petrol.
I love that.
John Terry used the same pair of shin pads for 10 years, smelly bastard, parked in the same spot and listened to the same CD to every game. And Cristiano Ronaldo typically was last to leave the dressing room, steps onto the pitch with his right foot, and often changes his hairstyle at half time. I'll be honest with you, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 grown men, 7 professional athletes, 7 you'd expect to be, pretty well educated blokes. So slapping your keeper in the stomach, kissing your keeper on the head, last one on the pitch, not wasting your shots in the warm-up, filling your car up whether it needed or not to the exact same amount. Same shin pads, same parking space, same CD. I can live with that one, John. I'm exactly with that one, Mr. Terry. I'd go with that one. And being last to leave the dressing room, but also changing your hairstyle at half time. That's the first batch. What do you think of that nonsense, mate? It's brilliant.
Absolutely crazy. And I think it just really sums up what we've been talking about. I mean, exactly that. Kissing a player on the forehead, because it becomes something, doesn't it? I mean, and weirdly with Johan Cruyff doing it, he was one of the calmest, most logical footballer. When you see him in interviews of the past, he's so eloquent, so intelligent, so composed, and you think he just doesn't seem like someone who would have superstitions at all. But even the greats have them. So there you go. Yeah, I think that's the shin pads one I really get. The petrol one, that's just laugh out loud. That's just so random. I love it because it is so random. It's almost the kind of thing that, like, oh, that's an interesting one. Perhaps I should start doing that. Something really silly like that, where you think there's just no correlation, is there, at all?
How do they make the connection between, we won, I got a clean sheet in Reina's case, I got a clean sheet. Yeah. Let's work it back and work out what might have done that. And it might have been the petrol station. I've got some more, because these are just funny, I think. So, former Spanish coach Luis Aragones had a proper issue with the colour yellow, and he once asked one of his players to go home again because he turned up at the hotel wearing a yellow shirt, and he had to go home or back to his room to change his shirt. That's one. Ivan Rakitic from Barcelona would put his sock and shoe on his left foot first, but would step onto his field with his right foot first every time. And the last one for this little group, and this is a guy who's played for Middlesbrough, and he was an absolute legend, or he would have been if we'd have played him properly, so you know where I'm going. Alvaro Negredo, when he was at Valencia, always wore the same shirt in the following match if he'd scored, unwashed, dirty bugger. And he'd also make a point of being last out of the tunnel before a match. So if he'd gone on a goal spell, remember when Jamie Vardy scored 11 goals in consecutive games? Alvaro Negredo would have had no one within 25 yards marking him, would he?
Oh,
Because he'd have stunk to high heaven. But again, like the weird thing is, they're just looking at things and going, you know what? It must be that. It
it
must
must
be
be
that.
that. Or yeah, it's like some kind of yeah, it's like some unspoken of magic, isn't it? It's like I'm going to try and keep as much of the essence of what's created that because that's what I think it is that I need. When really all it is just human psychology, isn't it? It's you in your head thinking that's going to make me do the same thing again. When it's not. It's completely. But the thing is, whatever works for you, it's like the placebo effect, isn't it? It's something similar
Yeah.
along the lines. If it psychologically makes you think that that's giving you what you need, strangely, it might actually work because it is that effect on your brain, isn't it, of making you believe that it gives you that extra confidence and
Here's the
belief to
thing.
do something.
Here's the thing, though, mate. In sport, the phrase marginal gains is absolutely used to advantage. It's been used
Yeah,
by cycling, it's been used by rugby, it's been used by sports psychologists. And if a marginal gain for Alvaro Negredo is if you feel a little bit more confident, a little bit happier, 0.5% more likely to put in a good performance because you're wearing the same stinky shirt for 3 games in a row because you keep scoring in it. You know what? Keep wearing your stinky shirt, mate, because if that's in your head psychologically as a positive, it's a marginal gain, and you know what? Why wouldn't you? And they might say it's bonkers, it's pointless, whatever. But actually, if in their head it does make that 0.5%, 1% difference to their psychology, then it's doing its job, isn't it? But it is weird. I've got some more, mate.
go
What's your
on,
thoughts on the
go on.
what's your thoughts on the marginal gains thing? I think it's a valid
No,
point you make.
I think it's absolutely valid, and I think that is probably where superstitions and little quirks like this come from. Because if that, like you said, it's whatever works for you in your head. It's a very pressurized environment. I mean, fans probably sometimes maybe not don't appreciate how the players themselves feel in pressurized situations, and if they need something that makes them feel like it gives them comfort, like Lineker. I didn't know that about. That's a really great one about Lineker changing his shirt at half time if he hadn't scored in the first half. So imagine if, for whatever reason, he got sidetracked and hadn't changed his shirt in the semi final of the World Cup semi-final in 1919. Does that mean he wouldn't have scored that equalising goal to take it to extra time and pens? In his
Yeah,
head, he might have thought, "Oh my God, I've not changed my shirt." That might have ruined his head inside second half.
yeah.
And but then other people will go, "Well, that's ridiculous. He's a professional sportsman. He shouldn't let that happen." But it's like, well, no, because these are the kind of things that get them through.
There was a situation with Gary Lineker where he had to change his shorts. Remember when he shit himself on the pitch? Do you remember that? I can't remember who it was against when he played for England. Have you seen? You must have heard that one, haven't
No,
you?
I haven't.
Oh,
No,
there's a
no.
very, very famous story about Gary Lineker. Right, he was playing for England. It was in a tournament, so it was a World Cup or the Euros, and he literally shit himself. Right, he had really bad diarrhea, and there's a video of him. If you just look up on YouTube, anyone watching this, Gary Lineker shitting himself. There's a video on YouTube, right? And he's pulling himself along the floor like a Labrador, like wiping its ass on the floor. And he said people didn't come within 20 yards of him in the second half because he shot himself in the second half, famously wearing an England shirt. So that I can't believe you've not heard of that one, mate. But anyway,
No, mate, no, that's a story. I'm going to look that up.
look
Isn't
that
that
up.
a brilliant superstition? I'm not going
But
to just give it. He has the ball all to himself and can go straight through one goal.
I'm glad he didn't score a hat trick because in the Alvaro Negredo envelope, he'd be wearing those shorts he had unwashed for the next 10
Imagine,
games. With it. Oh,
do you see the one that Jack Grealish in the Villa went up in the most recent time, 4 or 5 years ago? He went on a scoring run, didn't he? And he was captain for a while, so he didn't
yeah,
change boots the whole way through. And by the time they got to the playoff final, his boots were literally absolutely shredded. They had
yeah,
no material on the outside. They were all like through to the inners. They were absolutely knackered. The soles were coming off, but he wouldn't. He refused to wear a different set of boots, and they were literally on the. I mean, they were hanging off. How he kept them
yeah.
going, I don't know, but he was a firm believer that the boots were the thing that were making him score the goals and play well. So
Well, they would know, didn't
they
they?
went through the playoffs and got up through the playoffs, didn't they? So it kind of in his head that worked. But they had a focus. I remember that. I remember at the time they had a focus on his boots, and there was literally he was doubting the socks in places and thinking,
Yeah.
but daft, isn't it?
No,
As a player, you must be thinking, well, I don't mean that in a context. I mean, we've just supported why they do it, but it is daft when you think these players probably know how good they are, but they still rely on something else that helps them.
none of it's daft when you got the home and away fetish that I've got, mate.
Yeah.
None of it's daft. I'm telling you now. Right, I've got a few more. It says 20 funniest superstitions. They're not all funny, so I won't read them all. Real Madrid, when they relocated to their new stadium in 1912, they didn't win a trophy for 5 years. To break the curse, they buried a clove of garlic under the centre circle and won the Copa del Rey in the same season for the first time. Like, what the hell? Right, okay. I've got a load of these, right? Another Pepe Reina one, actually, apart from his petrol station. He had loads, apparently, a whole range of pre-match rituals. So he'd have a cheese and ham toastie and a glass of wine the night before a game, and he'd make sure his car was petrol, that one. So he'd always have a cheese and ham toastie, he'd always have a glass of wine the night before a game. Vincent Tan, a Malaysian businessman who took charge of Cardiff City, revealed to his board of directors that he preferred to sign players with a number 8 in their date of birth. Now, obviously, in the Far East, there's a lot of superstition and number superstition, all that. So if you got a number 8 in your date of birth, you can sign for Cardiff. However shit you might be, that doesn't really matter, does it? Really? Giovanni Trappatoni, when he was the coach of in Italy, deeply superstitious. He used to take holy water to matches when he was boss of the national team. The water was provided by his sister, who just happened to be a nun, which is funny. He's one about Kevin Keegan. I didn't know this, actually. Kevin Keegan, former European Player of the Year, would remain bare-chested in the dressing room till everybody else had put on their kit. Sometimes he was still dressing as he ran onto the pitch. What? Wow. Kevin Keegan didn't need any help, did he? He was a brilliant footballer, right?
Astonishingly good, yeah. But again, it just kind of goes to show you. And I think the common theme here, mate, is there's a lot of really, really good players coming through here. World-class players who've all got these quirky superstitions, which means it must mean something. It's got to mean something, hasn't it? And you know what? Behind it all, marginal gains, like we said, but you know what? You could argue that, well, without any of that, it would have still happened. But it's like, but would it? Because in their heads, they might not have then gone on to do what they did in that game if they didn't believe in what they were doing beforehand.
Exactly. I've got some more.
I've got change until, coming on the pitch. I love that. Because I'm just kind of picturing he must be eagle-eyed around the dressing room thinking, right, I can't put my shirt on until everyone else has. And looking around for all these, and they're all things that probably settle you, isn't it? It's like a settler. Yeah. Just thinking, right, it doesn't feel like my routine until everyone else has done what they've got to do.
I think I might be wrong. I think I might be wrong with Paul Ince. Paul Ince used to do that, though. I think Paul Ince was always put his shirt on as he was coming out of the tunnel, I think, from memory. But yeah, sorry, Rakitic, you saying what?
I love that Rakitic one. Something as simple as putting your left sock and boot on, but then when you walk on the pitch, it's you're stepping on with your right foot. I mean, what is that? That almost feels like that's nothing, but to him, it clearly means something.
Exactly.
It's a thing, isn't it?
I've got some more. Honestly, I love this episode because it's like it's absolute nonsense, but actually there's method in the madness, isn't there, when you look at it?
At the moment, mate, Pepe Reina's winning hands down.
What was ham and cheese toast in his petrol? The petrol.
I might start doing that for a match day myself the night before. Ham and cheese toast in a glass of wine sounds wonderful. I might start putting that in.
Don't tell Mia, because that's another one, right? Okay, we'll finish off the episode with Mia and the move to the new stadium. Because we'll go full circle on that. A few more. Barry Fry, former manager of Birmingham City, believed there's a curse at St Andrews, and he decided the best way to remove it was to urinate on the corner flags. However, it wasn't until he himself was removed as manager that Birmingham City's fortune started to improve. So it wasn't the curse, Barry, it was the fact that you were just shit. The 2002 African Cup of Nations, Tony Silva, the Senegalese goalkeeper, was accused of hiring a witch doctor to smear his goal with magic ointment. After the alleged treatment, Silva went 448 minutes without conceding a goal. So It's not magic ointment, Tony, but it's magic to you, mate. It's absolutely magic. If it 448 minutes with a clean sheet, so it's like they just get more and more. Rene Higuita, he's brilliant, right? Rene Higuita, you know, the scorpion kick goalkeeper, lunatic goalkeeper. In a desperate bid to improve his form and the form of his team, Athletic National, goalkeeper once visited a fortune teller with his teammate Carlos Pereira. She advised them that in order to change their fortunes, the whole squad should wear blue belts and blue underpants. After following her advice, they went on to win the Copa Libertadores. So the whole team and squad were wearing blue belts and blue underpants. And then they went to win the Copa Libertadores. That's like up there with like bonkersness, isn't it, really? Iker Casillas, Ronaldo's ex-teammate, has had many rituals over the years, including cutting the sleeves off all of his goalkeeping shirts and wearing his socks inside out. When he was dropped by Jose Mourinho in 2012, he gave up the sock habit and eventually worked his way back to being number one. So he would wear his socks inside out and also cut the sleeves off his goalkeeping shirts.
I remember him. I didn't know about the sock thing. I remember the shirt thing. I remember that was a thing with him. Yeah, he always looked a bit scruffy on the pitch because he'd go for the short sleeve option and cut his sleeves off. Which is now a thing with goalkeeper tops. You can get short sleeve goalie tops now, apparently. So
yeah. But you'd also get bloody socks with those holes cut in for the calf. They're bonkers, them, aren't they?
Yeah. Have you seen now? They almost, because they've got those boots that are also built-in socks. Some of them wear.
Yeah.
They cut the actual foot off the sock, don't they? And they just pull the sock over their boot, just so they're obviously wearing the club colours. And then you look down the back and they've got like 4 different holes cut out back. I'm like, what is that for? Is it It looks as scruffy as hell. Like, it looks awful, but it's
a marginal gain. It's a superstition. Superstition. I've got a couple more. Paulo Di Canio, what a footballer he was. I mean, Maverick as they go. But when he was playing in the Premier League West Ham, he always put his left boot on first, which is fine. Very common, you know, footballers. There's a list of very common ones. Which boot first, which shin pad. Oh, that's very common. But before one game against Arsenal, he put his shorts on back to front. But once he put them on, he refused to change them. He went on to score twice, and West Ham beat Arsenal for the first time in 14 years, right? So Paulo Di Canio then wore his shorts backwards for the rest of that season.
What? Even lost? That's a weird one, isn't it? How strange. What? I'm just thinking I would have probably gone with that until you lost again, or maybe you should go on a winning streak. But I find that odd that you did it for the whole season.
I don't know whether it was March. I don't know when they played him, but he refused to swap out that routine. So he had his shorts on backwards. I mean, they probably fit the same forwards and backwards because there's not much to them. But imagine if there was like an insert in them, whatever. You know, they'd be bloody uncomfortable, wouldn't they, if you got them the wrong way around? So I wonder
when players call time on a certain superstition. You know, like is it after they don't win? Is it after they don't play well? Wonder when there's certain ones that they just do regardless. There's obviously ones you've talked about there that there's obviously players do just as a ritual. You know, every game, but there's probably quite a few that come and go. Maybe it's come back now and again, or maybe it's once they've gone forever. So, yeah. Well,
I suspect there's quite a few where the ritual was started by accident, then they stick to it, and then whatever happens, they either play badly or they lose, or a goalkeeper lets 3 in or whatever, and they go, right, no, that's ridiculous. But then, if they go into a bad run of form, they might go, I'll try that again. So they might become cyclical, mightn't they, really? Okay. Yeah. Steven Gerrard always touches the famous "This is Anfield" sign on his way out of the pitch. I wonder if he did that the day he slipped up against Chelsea. Anyway, moving on from that. Just thought I'd throw that in. And he's the last one I want to finish with before we go back to Mia and her strange foibles with the new stadium. I didn't know this at all. This is called Holly the Hamster. In the 2013-14 season, Middlesbrough's improved league form coincided with the arrival of a chubby-cheeked mascot called Holly the Hamster at the club's training ground. Holly was a Christmas gift from an unnamed player and was given permanent residence in the North East Club's facilities and was credited with a turnaround in form. Well, first of all, I don't remember the turnaround in form in 2013-14, but nonetheless, I didn't realise it was all down to Holly the Hamster. So again, whole teams can get involved, whole clubs can get involved, whole kind of grown-up men and women can just buy into the madness that is superstitions. I mean, what do you reckon of Holly the hamster, mate? We should be long dead now, wouldn't she, bless her, because they don't live that long. But, you know, maybe the ghost of Holly the hamster should come out for the last 11 games this season for us.
I'm all up for that, mate. I love that one. Yeah. I mean, anything that gets you through, yeah. I'm fine with it. So yeah, it's almost a bit like for me as well, like just the walking out songs. Like I loved when Middlesbrough brought back the power game that they had from like running through the 60s, 70s, 80s. I love when they incorporated that within the song, the music they put in to come out, and you know, little things like that. And I always get a bit uncomfortable when things are removed and changed in terms of, you know, that's another one. Build up music and build up stuff to the game. That becomes something that you
expect,
you get used to and expect. And moving on to Mia, that's one of the things that she.
Hang on. Before we do Mia, before we go back to Mia, right? Is you've said at the very outset of this that superstitions are bonkers and you don't have many, and yet throughout the episode, mate, you've dropped in the fact that I like a bit of that, I like a bit of this. I'm okay. You've got loads. You're culpable in what Mia's turned out to be as a superstitious sort of football fan. It's all down to you, mate. So let's finish on Mia, because she had habits, she had superstitions, she had rituals, call them what you will, to do with going to Goodison Park. And now you don't play at Goodison Park, so you had a season so far, part of a season so far at Hill Dickinson. How has that affected her routine, superstitions, whatever? How, you know, has she got any? Is she trying to find some? Is she trying to work up to them? What's the situation with her?
So, it kind of wiped the slate clean. So it was quite peaceful for a while. It was really nice. I just said, look, it's a blank canvas. We're going to take it from scratch, and there's going to be loads of different things we do because all our mates are all over the stadium. So there's lots of different things we'll be doing. We've got a set routine. But when it's just us together, there's a couple of things forming. So if we have a night game, which seems to be all the time now because we don't have Saturday kickoffs anymore, they're a myth. So because she works in Liverpool, I'll meet her for some. So I'll meet her. So our routine now is we've now adopted again. She has a set takeaway outside Central Station. We have a set meal that we get. She has to walk and meet me, and we have to eat it on the way to the ground. So that's like a ritual we have. And again, it's the set thing we have. Always.
Hasn't taken long, mate.
No. So we've got that, which is a set thing. Even to the point where if they don't give her 2 forks, she has to walk back in and get 2 forks. You want to give me 1 fork, I have to have 2 forks. So that's part of the routine. She just can't have 1 fork because that really messes with her head.
Hang on. What does she need 2 forks? How do you walk and eat? You with 2 forks?
Because we just have a fork each, and we just kind of like, as we're walking, I hold it and we stop, and then she just dives in and gets bits what she wants, and that's how we do it.
Right.
We share a great big do thing. We have 1. So that part of it's obviously she needs a fork of her own. But if they don't put 2 in, that's not right. She has to go back and correct that because that's part of the thing. Another one that's developing is when we get off the train at James Street, they have a different exit. So you can people who live around here will know what I'm talking about. When you get off the train, you walk up the stairs. Instead of getting the escalator up to the main foyer, they've got a separate exit on Water Street. It's a really old-fashioned exit, and it's a really high climb, and it brings you up onto a different street. And if that's not open, that's becoming a bit of an issue. It's like Water Street exit's not open. That's not great. That needs to be open on a match day. So that's becoming a thing because that's a new thing that we like to do because it's so high. Yeah. It knackers you walking up into the top. She's developed, on the fan zone at the new stadium, they've got this amazing pizza place, and Mia claims that she found it and it's hers, and that she needs to get there at a certain point, and the queue time needs to be at a certain level. She's now unhappy that everyone else seems to have discovered it, and it eats into time that she'd rather be doing something else. So that's become a bit of a bugbear. Like, Mia, it's a pizza place on a fan zone. You can't control how many people use it. She said, yeah, but when we started using it, no one was going to it. So we discovered it and everything else. So I need to be there at a certain point to get it. And if everyone's there now and I have to queue more and I have to wait more, that's not great. And then she
Messes with me head.
twitchy if we don't get into our seats before they start playing the round of songs that all build up before the match starts, and being out for when the teams come out. If she's nowhere near a seat by then, say I'm trying to finish off a pint or doing something, if I suddenly say I need to go to the loo, she's like, oh, no, we have to be up and in our seat for a certain time. So
yeah. Is that both of you have to be there? So she couldn't go on her own, and you're not there because you got the loo. That breaks the hoodoo, does it? Yeah.
She doesn't like going in. She has to wait for me. So she will, she'll never ever go and sit somewhere and leave me to it. So even at Goodison, it's like, no, the routine is we go at the same time and we get in our seats at the same time. We can't go on it. So that's another superstition as well. You have to go at the same time.
It hasn't taken long for her to build up some new ones at Hill Dickinson. And what I'd say to you, mate, is your parenting skills are terrible because you've turned her into an absolute lunatic. I'm only joking, right? I love it a bit. You know I do. But what I'd say to you is you need to make sure you shouldn't add another 6 next season and then become almost to the fact that, like you said, almost you can't leave the house because she was getting so many with Goodison.
I think I've realised, mate, that I probably like quite a lot of them, so I'm encouraging it psychologically because actually I think they're all hilarious. So I'm probably going along with it rather than saying it's rubbish. So actually, I think I was bad as her, really, to be honest.
Is this the guy who said at the very start, superstitions, I don't really have any. Now you just say you got loads and you created loads where you don't, and you're encouraging them, mate. So what can I do?
I'm gonna off air now. I'm gonna reevaluate my superstition beliefs.
Okay. That basis, let's finish on that and let's think about if anyone's got any. We've gone through footballer ones, but we've gone through fan ones as well. We know that they are all bollocks, right? They are. But if you're a footballer, potential bollocks means marginal gains. We get that. I think we've both accepted if it gives them 0.5% in their head, then it's worth doing for them. As a fan, it's nonsense, right? It makes no difference whatsoever. Potentially, if I wear a home shirt for an away game or a away shirt for a home game, I wouldn't be seen dead doing it. And I don't know why, but it's never, ever going to happen. Never going to happen that I'm going to do the opposite to that because it just doesn't make sense. So we'd like your comments. We'd like to know what your superstitions are, what your friends' superstitions are when you go out with your mates and whatever in terms of football. As I said earlier, I'm not even a superstitious person in life in general, not at all, not remotely. But anything to do with rituals around football seems to mess with my head. So, Dom, that's been funny. It's been good laugh.
That's been a really good episode. I've loved that. Yeah. And I realised much more superstitious at football than I actually realised. God, completely.
So, we'll see you after the recording of this. We'll see you on Friday at the airport for our Dortmund trip. That also has a superstition that we have to have a pint when we arrive, don't we? So there we go.
Yeah, at the airport. It's just we've got lots of superstitions and traditions on our trips now, haven't we? Yeah,
we have. On that basis, we can talk about this all day. Let's do the outro. Let's do the slide decks of the people watching on YouTube. And as I say, this has been Strange Football Superstitions. It's been in conjunction with our new football partners, Huddle Up, who are looking after mental health and well-being, particularly in the EFL and the National League level clubs. So again, I keep saying it, if you've got any connections with clubs at sort of fan liaison, commercial level, or fan supporter groups, get in touch with the guys at Huddle Up. Their contact details are on screen. Adam Franklin and Connor Botterill. We'll put them in the show notes as well every week now. They're doing some great things. They just need the help of fans to open doors at clubs to provide this fantastic and much needed service for fans by fans to improve mental health and well-being. And on that basis, that's been episode 39. Next time's episode 40, so Dom can use a famous phrase. We won't go into that now. We're going to confirm nearer the time what the subject is for episode 40, because we always like to remain on topic and current. So, we record these a week to 10 days out, so we like to make sure that we talk about things. I feel like it might be observations on the season to date, because I've got a load of stuff written down over recent weeks that have perturbed me and pissed me off in equal measure. So that might well be what episode 40 is, but we'll decide nearer the time. Without further ado, Dom, brilliant as ever. Thanks for being a great co-host. Good laugh. And I'll see you at the airport on Friday for our Dortmund trip.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Really enjoyed that one. And looking forward to Friday. Yeah, see you on the next one. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.